According to the Daily Mail, Trump to take drastic actions against Canada, Mexico, and China to stop the border invasion and issues an ultimatum. President-elect Donald Trump threatened Monday to slap a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canadian goods as long as the countries allowed immigrants to flow over the U.S. border. He also said he'd impose an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods over the Chinese government's refusal to make good on a promise to use the death penalty on drug dealers. These actions, said Trump, would take place on the first day of his administration. So it's not going to be on the second day. It's not going to be on the third day. So you are staring down the barrel of January 20th as an end to the nonsense. Trump outlined the drastic measures in two Truth Social posts Monday night as he worked on the presidential transition from Mar-a-Lago. He said the Mexican and Canadian tariffs would apply to, quote, all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. This tariff will remain in effect until such a time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. The president-elect also suggested that Mexico and Canada had an absolute right and power to easily solve this long simmering problem, indicating he wanted them to do more to patrol their border so migrants couldn't sneak into the United States. Trump also voiced frustration that the deadly drug fentanyl was still seeping into the U.S. from China. Wow. I got to tell you, he sounds pissed. I'm just saying, you see people doing like the Trump dance. I don't think he's dancing. He sounds pissed. He sounds like he's really, he's at his wit's end. He's at his wit's end. Wow. I gotta tell you, angry Trump. I don't think you want that. I've had many talks with China about the massive amounts of drugs, in particular fentanyl, being sent into the United States, but to no avail, Trump wrote. Representatives of China told me that they would institute their maximum penalty, that of death, for any drug dealer caught doing this, but unfortunately they never followed through. And the drugs are pouring into our country, mostly through Mexico, at levels never seen before, the incoming president complained. Until such a time as they stop, we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariff on all their many good products coming into the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this, to this matter. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Stu, hold on a second. Those tariffs, those are going to, that's like all those costs are going to be paid back to me. I'm going to have to incur the costs. Maybe. But even if you do, it's not going to last. I come bearing a receipt. Trump previously pledged to end China's most favored nation trading status and add tariffs that would be in excess of 60%. 60%. 60%. Oh, brother. Let's see here. 60%, a rate much higher than they were during his first term. He was reelected earlier this month, with many Americans attracted to his tough talk about illegal immigration and stopping the flow of fentanyl into the nation. During his campaign, the Republican pledged to lead the largest deportation in American history. On Truth Social Monday night, Trump spoke of droves of immigrants headed to the border ahead of his January 20th swearing in. Now, have you guys heard about that? Like, there's a caravan. You know, they saw that Donald Trump won, So they figured, okay, we got to go right now. How did you think that'd go? Well, there's nothing he can do. Biden, there's nothing they can do. Look at this. Right now, caravan coming from Mexico, composed of thousands of people, seems to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our current open border, Trump said. A caravan has been spotted weaving its way through Mexico en route to the United States. President Joe Biden previously tried to dissuade migrants from illegally crossing into the U.S. by saying that they would no longer be eligible for asylum if they came through between ports of entry. So over the summer, he issued this ultimatum that they will no longer be eligible for asylum if they came in between ports of entry. In other words, if you broke the law, you're no longer going to be eligible. The policy change decreased illegal crossings by 40% over the summer. It decreased the illegal crossings by 40%. Why do you think he did it? Well, you were going into an election cycle. You can't have an open border. Well, guess what that means? Keeping that border open was always part of the plan. Otherwise, he could have done this on day one. So Kamala Harris gets elected, that border goes wide open. Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris also chided Trump for derailing a bipartisan immigration bill that would have bolstered border security. If you've been following my channel, you know that bill was a Trojan horse to codify what's happening at the border right now. It was not to solve the problem. Trump now plans to hold Americans' neighbors responsible for this problem. The Republican was also elected in part thanks to the perception that he would be better at curbing inflation than Democrat nominee Harris. Americans have grumbled about the high cost of living during Biden's term in the aftermath of the, pandemic. Pollsters have found that many believe Trump will be able to bring down costs. But the number of experts, the experts that told you, Harris had a, 3-point advantage, many of the experts have warned that steep tariffs could end up actually punishing the American consumer as cost would be passed on to them. I have the tiny little knowledge of our economy because I'm not a financial guy. I don't know a whole lot. I do know this, however. Everything that we do in this country, transportation is a key. And whenever you are transportation is like the bloodstream of the country. So if you can drive down fuel costs, cost on energy, if you can drive down those costs, then those costs won't be passed on to the consumer. But once again, there's a very elementary understanding of our economy, but I do know this. All of those semis you see going from, California to New York, if they even want to go, because most of them don't want to go to New York. Anyway, from California across the country, and they're delivering this and delivering that. And those are like the white cells of the American economy, the bloodstream. If you can get those costs down, everything else falls in line. And some of you, still, that doesn't make any sense. That's not going to change the cost of eggs. I think it does. Now, for those of you out there, because I actually have subscribers that are like way smarter than me. And so if you know better, please tell me that I'm wrong. And by the way, I relish being corrected. I actually like being corrected. I don't care. When I'm traveling the wrong way, I want to be alerted immediately to change course. But I think if you drive down the price of energy, everything else kind of falls in line. That's just my thought. Now, what happened here? Well, after last night, from Newsweek, migrant caravans not reaching border. Mexico president says after Trump threats. What? And let me read that for you again. From Newsweek, migrant caravan not reaching border. Mexico president says after Trump threats. You mean to tell me that Mexico's president came out and stopped it? See, here's the thing. The cartels got their tentacles in everything. And my guess is, once again, I'm not an expert, the president went to the cartels and said, hey, I know that your tentacles are in everything and you're sending those migrants. Well, there's a brand new sheriff in town and he's pissed. And we don't turn that caravan down. If we don't turn it around, all of your other interests will be impacted. That's my guess. It's something along those lines where she goes to them and says, slow your roll. If you still want to continue to make money, we ain't doing that. That's the only way she could actually get that done. Sorry. That's the only way she could get that done. They are corrupt AF. So, Donald Trump, not even being in office, has done more for our border security than Harris and Biden did in 4 years. And that's the reason I voted for him. All right, guys, that's it for now. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe. And if you're following me on Rumble, please press that follow button. And until the next time, God bless.